Hello there, lovely people. This is Ashley here, sending my love to you from whatever reality I'm in today to whatever reality you happen to find yourself in. I just tried to go live and it didn't work very well, so I'm going to continue what I was talking about on a video instead. So I'm continuing from my life, and this is about creation and the fact that we are, in my opinion, created. The Mandela Effect has certainly led me to that conclusion, because before I had no problem in believing in evolution. I believed in God still. I believed he set it all off, but that he left us to it and that evolution happened. I had no problem with that whatsoever. And it was only through being on a Periscope live that somebody came on being a smart arse and was like, oh, you're going to tell us next that you believe in evolution, that you don't believe in evolution. And I said, well, yeah, I do actually, smart arse. But then it got me to thinking, and I thought, hang about a minute, I'm Mandela affected. I can see that our Earth is changing, sometimes day by day. South America is now over here somewhere, instead of underneath, directly underneath. That is not evolution, that's creation. Scotland hasn't got the top on it anymore. That's not evolution, that's creation. I'm not in the body, my original body. I know that because things like now I have these massive cheekbones that I never used to have. Before I knew about what the Mandela Effect was, that was my first thing that I noticed, was my face changed shape. And I felt like a right idiot, but I thought I'd lost the plot. But yes, my face had changed shape. And then when I started, I actually saw I watch a lot of archaeological programs, and I noticed that the skull suddenly had sockets, bony sockets, and I lost the plot. I lost the plot because where I come from, we had no bone behind the eye. There was no bone. My brother had his eye out, actually. My brother had his eye out. And when people say to me, well, if you've got no bone behind it, how does your eye stay in? Well, it stays in because there was a thing of a thing of skin behind the eye. That's how. It wasn't just an open, gaping hole. He still has his bit of skin. So, and also, I mean, where I come from, people had tattoos, skull tattoos, and the snakes used to go in and out of the eye sockets. So we are now, I mean, I freaked. I lost it. I was passionate about biology and genetics, and no, now I can see that, the skull has changed massively. We've got holes all over the place where nerves come out of them. We've got a big bone in the middle of our nose now, bony eye sockets, these big cheekbones going on. We are not in the same body, it's quite clear. And like the kidneys are further up the back now, and what else is there? There's so much. The fallopian tubes are up and down and all over the place. Next thing you know, I'll have a vagina under my armpit. It's got that ridiculous, So I'm sorry, I just had to make levity of that little bit there because it's hard to get your head round. But it made me see that we are created. We haven't evolved over a gazillion years. And the Earth hasn't evolved over a gazillion years. The Earth is changing on a daily basis sometimes. There's so many changes with the Earth. Scotland hasn't got the top of it. South America is no longer directly under North America. The Panama Canal is not east to west anymore, it's north to south. Germany is not landlocked anymore. Sicily is nearly on top of Italy. There are so many, many, many different changes to our earth, to the earth, and to our own bodies, and obviously to other. Right, we get to, as Mandela affected people, we're told all the time that we're misremembering. Now, this ties in perfectly with what I'm saying about it not being evolution and that we've been created, because I have not misremembered Rainbow Mountains. There are Rainbow Mountains in this reality, on this earth. I haven't forgotten about Rainbow Mountains. They weren't in my reality. I haven't forgotten. I haven't misremembered forgetting they existed. They didn't exist in my reality, in my original reality. Those mountains, I haven't forgotten that they existed. I was very passionate about about the planet, I would have known about that. It's not it's not something, they haven't just discovered them. Although there have been some amazing new discoveries that aren't really new at all. They're just new to us because we're on a different world. We're on a completely different world, and that has got nothing at all to do with evolution. So when I realise that I've not evolved and that this world is not bobbing about over millions of years, going round and round the sun, that cannot possibly be. It's like, what am I left with? Well, over the course of the last few years, because of the Mandela Effect, I came to the conclusion that the Earth's flat. I don't care if you do or don't believe that the Earth's flat. That's not I have no problem with you believing the Earth's a globe. But the Mandela Effect directly led me to that. And also I think the evolution scenario also backed that up, because it meant that I then had to look at what created us. How were we created? And I went back to Genesis, which I couldn't cope with as a teenager. I was born again Christian as a teenager. I couldn't cope with Genesis at all, and literally fobbed it off completely. Had nothing to do with it. It didn't make any sense to me. I couldn't understand how people lived for hundreds of years. God made the world in 7 days, yeah, but then there's evolution. That's how I felt and thought. But now, the Mandela Effect made me look at it all in a completely different way. So then I had to think about, right, well, let's have a look at what it says in the Bible. And what it says in the Bible is about the firmament and it dividing the waters from underneath and above. And that, I'm left with no alternative, quite frankly. I'm left with no alternative. Because we haven't evolved. We haven't evolved over... Rainbow Mountains are millions of years old, apparently. Now, first of all, Rainbow Mountains were only in China, but now there's some in Peru as well. So let's see where else Rainbow Mountains appear from that I've forgotten about, that you forgot about. No, we didn't forget about them. They weren't in our reality. It's that simple. And they have not evolved over a gazillion years. They popped up overnight. They popped up overnight for us. And so then it gets me... So it's people say about us believing in the Mandela Effect. We don't believe in it, we know it. It's not a belief, it's a knowledge, it's a knowing. We don't know what it is, we don't know what causes it, we don't know where it's going, we don't know. But we know it's real. We don't believe in it, we know it's real. And it makes us, in fact, the vast majority of us, it makes us cling more to our Creator rather than in a different direction. It doesn't make us cling to a new... I mean, I've been in the New Age. I've been in the New Age scenario. I read tarot cards. I classed myself as a pagan, but I only ever believed in one God. But I was very spiritual. I was very spiritual. But it's... Excuse me. That... I don't regret any of that. I think that's who God made me. But the vast majority of us, and there are actual pagans, people that class themselves as pagans now, who are Mandela affected, and it makes them cling to their Creator. We just don't have I think the majority of us just don't have the original... We do have the original Christian teaching, of course we do, because, I mean, the Bible changes are very, very... they matter to us. They matter greatly to us. It's turning our Bible into something blasphemous and we cannot bear it. So we back away from the church scenario, as in going to church. But it doesn't mean that we aren't talking to our Creator. I actually came back to Jesus through the Hopi prophecy, which talks about reality changes. The Hopi prophecy actually brought me back to Jesus because he's part of their prophecy, the end world, end time prophecy, which ties in very, very well with the Bible, except... excuse me. That's just my old smoker's cough, nothing to worry about. Yeah, the Bible ties in with the Hopi prophecy. The Bible, I mean, it is the Hopi prophecy. It's just that God and Jesus were about, and Jesus was prophesied about way before anybody wrote anything down in any book. So the basis is real. It's just, yes, it's been manipulated and turned around by man anyway, And then we have these terrible changes, these Bible changes and world changes and reality changes. And for many of us, it makes us feel like that we're coming to the end times, that it is the end times. It fits in very well with that. But the Mandela Effect affects people of all religions and no religion. You know, it's not just people that are religious that it happens to. It happens to people, and it's not just Christians. It's my friend is a Muslim, and she's affected. So it's, but it shows quite clearly that we have been created, and this is what I mean about, we are proving there are scientists out there, especially the ones that go on TV, that go on about they believe in parallel universes, parallel worlds, blah 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 blah. Why aren't they talking about Mandela Effect? That's what I want to know. We are proving them right. What is happening to us is proving them right, and yet science is ignoring us. But, excuse me, quite frankly, there is no science anymore, and that was another passion of mine, science. But there's no passion in a science that isn't real. You can't bring science into this anymore. We're Mandela affected. Reality is changing. The only science you can bring into it are the physics people, who are ignoring it. Why? Why aren't these people jumping up and down with excitement? Because there are people out here that are actually proving their point. Us. We are. The only thing I can think of is that maybe it's because it makes you think about your creator and that you're actually created. And then their whole story of, this is how it's been for millennia is wiped away. Because it's not real. That's the only reason I can think of as to why, these physics guys aren't going completely crazy with excitement. I mean, why aren't they wetting themselves? Because they should be. And I can only put it down to the fact that they're that busy thinking that there is no God. And this whole phenomena does make you think about the creation and our creator. It does, very much. Not a dogmatic way, but it makes you know that something somewhere created you, and it's creating all of this. And absolutely all religions in the world go back to one creator. Even the Hindus go back to one creator. One. So we have to... The fact that I really do believe now that evolution isn't real, that we are created, is an amazing thing. Something I never ever expected for me to be able, me to be saying openly. But I do. I believe our creator is coming back. I think that that's what this is about. It's a supernatural situation that we're going through, as is creation itself. So, no, we haven't evolved, because we're changing every 5 minutes. The Rainbow Mountains have come out of nowhere. They haven't evolved over millions of years to us. They just popped up overnight. We haven't misremembered them. We haven't forgotten that they existed. They weren't real to us. They weren't in our reality. And so, yes, I 100% believe that we're created, and that soon all will be revealed. And that we are the proof of that. So on that note, lovely people, thank you so much for listening to me, for being here for me, for persevering with my lives that have been absolutely terrible because, well, the signal around here is absolutely awful. So I've not been able to do lives like I wanted to. But thank you all for persevering. Thank you for sharing with me your experiences, your ideas, your thoughts, your love, your prayers, and just for being part of my life, because I couldn't do it without you guys. So until next time, I love you all.